100 children's orphans for your sons and daughters.
Hey.
Your nieces and nephews too. Join our reading crew.
Hold on a minute, Isis. What about grandmothers and grandfathers?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Bricktropolis, written by Rachel Beckles. Brandon adored building with all kinds of bricks and played with them every single day. He named his tiny town Bricktropolis. The more bricks he bought with his pocket money, the more his Bricktropolis grew. Brandon's mum was not happy when she realized that Brandon's hobby had taken over his room. She couldn't even get past his doorway. "Brandon, clear up this mess before these brick people take over your room." "But, Mum," Brandon whined. "No buts," said his mum, "except yours putting these bricks away." Now Brandon was mad. He didn't want to put his Bricktropolis away. His model had taken him ages. He kicked down all of the houses and they fell with a smash, bash, crash, until there was nothing left but an enormous pile of bricks on the floor. That night, Brandon went to bed still angry with his mum. He had not tidied up the bricks like his mum had asked. "When I wake up, I'm going to build my Bricktropolis all over again," Brandon whispered to himself. "I like my Bricktropolis that I build in my room, and I'm going to build it even bigger tomorrow," he said as he drifted off to sleep. Late that night, as Brandon slept, something amazing happened. One of the brick people... Oh, shoot. Late that night, as Brandon slept, something amazing happened. One of the brick men on his floor pushed aside the bricks that covered him and stood up. Very slowly, more and more brick people dug their way out. They looked around them where their Bricktropolis once stood, but now there was only mess. The brick people began to build a ladder that went from the floor all the way up to Brandon's bed. Once they had reached the top, they carefully surrounded Brandon as he slept. A little itch on Brandon's nose woke him up, but at first he was too afraid to open his eyes. He held his breath, opening one eye slowly. Suddenly, there was a tiny, angry face very close to Brandon's face. "Excuse me, I am the president of the brick people, and I have come to ask you why you have knocked our Bricktropolis down." Brandon was stunned. He couldn't move or speak. "Well?" the president demanded, leaning closer to Brandon's face. My mum said I had to put Bricktropolis away," Brandon stammered. "But Brandon, I wouldn't call that cleaning up, would you? With all that smashing and bashing and crashing, you seem to have made more mess than before." Brandon felt guilty. He realized how much mess he had made earlier when he was angry. "Since you cannot run Bricktropolis properly, Brandon, we have decided to take over," the president said calmly. "What?" Brandon shouted. He tried to jump out of his bed, only to realize that he had been tied down with brick tape. The president continued. "As I said before, Brandon, we're taking over. That means there isn't any room for you. We're going to put you in the cupboard and turn your bed into a fun fair. Bricktropolis needs a fun fair. But, stammered Brandon, still trying to get out of bed. No buts, Brandon, except yours. Going in the cupboard, shouted the angry little president. All of a sudden, Brandon realized that his brick people were surrounding him. Ready? One of them shouted. No! Panicked Brandon. 2! Please, I'll tidy. 3! Brandon woke up with a jolt. At first he was frightened to move. Slowly he checked that he could move his arms and legs. Then he checked his bed for brick people. There were none. On the floor, the mess that he had created earlier was still there. Brandon sighed in relief. Brandon was not going to take any more chances upsetting the brick people or his mum. He quietly crept to the huge pile of bricks on the floor. Very carefully, Brandon built a small house for the brick people to sleep in. One by one, he gently put the brick people to bed. Brandon felt a lot better. He tidied the mounds of bricks that covered his floor. Pleased with himself now that everyone would be happy, Brandon went back to bed. The next morning, when Brandon woke up, he smiled to himself. He rolled out of bed expecting to see nothing on his floor but the little house that he had made the night before. But there was something more. Brandon rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Next to the little house, spelt out in bricks, were the words, "Thank you." Brandon was stunned. He looked into the little house to see all of the brick people were exactly where he had left them. Unable to explain what had happened, Brandon neatly put away the last of the bricks. "You're welcome," he whispered into the window of the little house before he went downstairs for breakfast.
I really like that story, Tan Tan. And we should always clean up after playing with our toys.
So who do you think left that message for Brandon?
I don't know, Tan Tan. Maybe it was the president.
Maybe. Thank you for listening to another story written by a Black author, and I'll see you next time for another story written by a Black author. Bye-bye.